Hello and welcome to the show. Dealing with hormonal imbalances can be tricky, to say the least. So my first guest today says these imbalances can start at a very early age and then come with lots of twists and turns as we get older. Please welcome to the show Dr. Tasneem Bhatia. She is an integrative medicine physician and the author of the Hormonal Shift.
Yes.
To put it nicely. To put it very nicely. Good to have you, Dr. Taz.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I know that this is a personal mission for you in terms of making sure women understand, but it's also personal because you're not writing about anything that you haven't gone through.
Definitely. I mean, I feel like this is such a mission for me because my entire journey into this field of integrative medicine and holistic medicine was really a hormone story at the end of the day. And I really want women of all ages to understand their hormone journey and to prepare for it and plan for it. And there are solutions, and I feel like so many times, we're kind of dismissed or we're told there's only one way to do things, and that's simply not true.
That's not the case. And you are very candid about some of the things that you have been through. For you, what was this like? When did the hormones really start to kind of take a hold and you were like, okay, what are we doing here?
Totally. So, I talk in the book about the 5 hormone shifts. Mine would have been in what I call the 3rd shift. And this is where, we as women in our 20s, mid to late 20s, we're building careers. We're kind of like, really trying to get to where we want to. So I started having at about 28 or so, probably started the years prior, a lot of random symptoms. My hair started to fall. I started to get a lot of cystic acne. I started to gain a ton of weight. And I tried to ignore it. And this is why I'm so passionate about this, because as a physician, I ignored it, thinking it would go away, thinking this was in my head. Then I started to get joint pain, joint swelling. Well, I set out, finally, my husband and my mom urged me to go get help. And that journey was so unfulfilling. I went to probably 8 to 10 different doctors, was told I was stressed or I was depressed or it's in my head.
And so many women hear that.
Or this is normal, whatever. And finally, I was put on a medication that had really devastating side effects. It drops your blood pressure. So I took the medication one day, went out to my car, went and worked out, got back in the car, and my blood pressure bottomed out while I was driving. And I ended up passing out as I'm like...
While you were operating the vehicle?
While I'm operating a vehicle. And so I crashed the car, obviously, but more importantly, it was like I could have hurt somebody else, leave alone myself. I've got to figure this out. So that led me to understanding or really wanting to dig in and understand what was going on. And at the end of the day, the end of the story, and it's a continuing story, of course, but I have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It causes inflammation. It causes high androgens. It causes changes in your mood, even in your ability to focus.
And this is something we hear from so many women, that they have PCOS, and it's just life-changing, right?
It's life-changing, and it really impacts women at every stage, not just somebody in their 20s, not just somebody trying to get pregnant. So long story short, I was able to turn it around, and to this day, as I'm headed into perimenopause and menopause, right? Probably more menopause than perimenopause, the same principles apply. So in the book, what I really, really want is that women understand their hormone journey, and through each hormone shift, know how to take care of their bodies.
Which is why you really do a great job of sort of breaking this down, this 13 to 19, the rock stars, the teenagers in the house who are going through it with the moms.
Dazed and confused is what I call them. They are all over the place. So the issue here as parents, what we can hopefully do to empower them is to help them understand their gut health sets the foundation for their hormone health. So if
that's a tough sell with a teenager talking about gut health.
Exactly. But if we can at least pass on, think about the quality of your food. Pay attention to your cycle. If you have an irregular cycle, that's not normal. But teenagers today have high cortisol levels. They're already getting insulin resistant, meaning they're starting to see those issues with blood sugar. And they're dealing with what I'm calling dirty hormones, which is a lot of DHT and androgens that then when they hit their 20s, the next shift starts to really express itself as a lot of high cortisol.
And let's talk about that, the hustlers and the superstars. That kind of covers the 20 to 38.
20s to about 38 or so, right before you hit perimenopause. I mean, those are very stressful times for young girls. They're really trying to establish their careers. They may go on and try to build a family. But if these hormones are not dealt with, oftentimes they're finding that they're dealing with anxiety or depression. They're having trouble focusing, so they take more medication. They're having issues in their relationships. Or when it's finally time to get pregnant, they can't, and they go down this IVF journey, which is, of course, very expensive and very painful as well. So we want these women to understand that high cortisol irregular blood sugar, low progesterone are all hormone shifts that happen to young women that have answers, and they can turn it around.
That's important to know. And before we've got about a minute left, I want to get to these super women and the commanders. And we're going to spend the bulk of the show talking about that, but just briefly touching on the super women, what this stage is like for us.
Yeah, so this is right into perimenopause and menopause, super women and commanders. And really, this is about declining hormone levels. So now progesterone is bottoming out, estrogen is bottoming out. When those hormones bottom out, blood sugar and insulin spike. That's why we get the belly fat.
Yeah.
That's why we start to get a lot of joint pain and inflammation.
Yes,
That's why we kind of start to get a little depressed and anxious too. Some heart palpitations might show up in the midst.
Yeah, and I think it kind of sneaks up on you because you were like, everything was going really pretty smoothly,
and a lot of times you can still have a regular period, but all this stuff is happening.
Yeah.
So we want to help women understand that shift as well.
Such a great way to start an important conversation that is going to continue. I love how you've breaking them down with such empowering nouns. I love that. All right. Stay with us, Dr. Taz. When we return, you are going to meet Jacqueline, who describes her mood swings as the 7 dwarfs. Seriously now. And her husband, Robert, he's also joining the conversation to help describe how he helps, shall we say, manage said dwarfs. We're going to have the conversation continuing after the break. Don't go anywhere, folks. Hey there, Portia here. Listen, that was a good conversation, wasn't it? Want to see the rest of it? Just go to portiashow.com, scroll down until you see that particular episode. But listen, before you scroll on out of here, I need you to do me a favor, please. Like, comment, let us know what you thought of that episode, and subscribe. And if you already are a subscriber, we sure appreciate you. In the meantime, we'll be sure to see you on the next episode of Portia, and you can catch us weeknights on Fox Soul as well. Tell your friends. Tell them to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.